Okay, everyone. Activity 2 in 2.13. So, we are going to dive into this experiment. All right, we're now going to look at some of the volunteers, their roles, and really think about what it was like to be in that experiment, empathize, put ourselves in that position so we can understand the risks that these people took to join Dr. Reed in trying to figure out a solution to the deadly yellow fever. So, based on my instructions in Google Classroom for today, you will know, based on your last name, whether you are working in Group 1 as a member of the clothing experiment or you are working in Group 2 as a member of the contaminated air experiment. Now, you're going to work individually in those groups so that you can better understand what was going on in those individual experiments. And then you're going to wait to see how you're going to share those instructions a little bit later. So, or excuse me, share that information you discover a little bit later. So you've got the names of everybody in the experiment. You've got a picture of people that participate in that experiment. So these are real people. As you can see, they're members of the military that are down in Cuba. And what we really want to think about, again, is the risk that these people chose to take and what information they knew, what information they consented to, how they understood the experiment, and reflect on our own choices, our own bravery, our own empathy, so that we can really connect to what these people did. So you're going to read this first, a little over a minute long. And this is about the volunteers and how Dr. Reed picked them, who he picked, that kind of short little process. And then you're going to answer the first question. What does the author mean when she says that certain volunteers agreed to take part solely for the sake of science? What does that mean that they took part for the sake of science? If you don't know what a word means, I will implore you, I will strongly encourage you, and even say that maybe you must look up words that you don't know. If you're unfamiliar with the word solely, or with the word science, or with the word sake, you need to know what those means. You need to know what they mean to understand how to answer the question. So, for the sake of science, what does it mean? A, B, C, or D? Dr. Reed asked every volunteer to sign a consent form, consenting meaning agree, to participate in the experiment. Imagine you are signing up for this form. Please sign your name and to continue with either Group 1 or Group 2, your experiment. So, I consent to submit myself to the experiments for the purpose of determining methods, blah, 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 blah. You need to read all of this on your own very carefully. There's going to be questions about all kinds of things, compensation, dangers, risk. You need to know what the answers to those are and pretend you're in that situation. After you finish that, then the contaminated clothing group experiment. You go to activity 3, the contaminated air experiment. You are going to go to activity 4.